Can you believe that we're under a week now until Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out? Like, I feel like I just made a video a day ago talking about how we were over 2 weeks. Now we're under 1 week, literally like 6 days until this game comes out, which is so exciting. But we just got a boatload of new info right before this game does drop, and this comes in a giant interview with IGN that Nintendo just had regarding the game and its development, information of the inspiration of how this game even came into fruition, and a lot more info as well. But before we dive into that, I want to once again thank Dbrand for sponsoring today's video. Over the last month, Dbrand has sent me so many of their awesome Switch 2 accessories, including their brand new Kill Switch Switch 2 protection case. The Kill Switch even has protection cases for your Joy-Con 2 as well in case you drop them, so that way there's absolute minimal damage to the things. And once again, they already promise free replacements to those who've got defective ones or simply anyone that's ordered it in the past month. And don't even worry, because the Kill Switch actually comes with a dock adapter, so you don't even have to take off the shell in order to place it in your dock, which is awesome. And odds are you probably really like the faceplates that were on my Joy-Con too, because they sell these as well. Little stickers that you can place on the actual Joy-Con, and they have tons of different colors and designs on the official website. Dbrand also has their very own screen protector, and let me tell you, this is the best screen protector to buy for your Nintendo Switch 2, because it is the easiest to put on with super basic, easy to read instructions. Even comes with a QR code to watch a video if you're stupid and you can't get this thing on. But man, this is literally one of the easiest to place, because we know screen protectors can sometimes be annoying or leave bubbles, and I had absolutely no issues with this. Whatever you do, please buy a screen protector, because you never know when you're going to get an unsuspecting scratch on your Switch 2 screen. So if any of these accessories look awesome to you, all you have to do is simply click on my link in the description down below in order to get yours sent to you today. With hundreds of Switch 2 accessories to choose from, there's something for everybody, and all you have to do is click the link in the description down below in order to get started. And huge thanks once again to Dbrand for sponsoring today's video. IGN interviewed the producer of Donkey Kong Bonanza, being Kenta Motokura, and you'll probably recognize his name if you're big on knowing who developed past games, because he's been pretty much working his way up the ladder to reach this producer role. I mean, he started working on games back in the GameCube era with Super Mario Sunshine, Pikmin, and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, as well as Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario 3D Land, Super Mario 3D World on Wii U. Yeah, he's pretty much had his foot in a lot of these games, and he's even worked very closely as the game director on Super Mario Odyssey. So it seemed like he took Koizumi's role as the main producer of this game, where Koizumi was the main producer of Odyssey. So a lot of people are thinking that's because Koizumi is currently producing the next 3D Mario, and of course they let Kenta Motokura produce this Donkey Kong game. But it's all really interesting, and it's really exciting to see him finally reach this producer role and take on such an ambitious project. Now, Motokura talks about how this game uses voxel technology, which is the placement of super small three-dimensional cubes in order to form a particle effect. And they talk about how the inspiration from this game actually came from areas of Super Mario Odyssey. Like, for an example, in the Luncheon Kingdom, there was a secret room where you could actually dig through cheese using the Hammer Bros frying pans in order to break the cheese apart, and little pieces would fly off. And the same thing with the Snow Kingdom, as there was a bunch of snow that you can run around in, leaving paths and trails as the little particles would fall off. This is something that actually led to the full-on inspiration of the entire game of Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is super interesting. It seemed to be talks of how this game may have originally been planned for Switch 1, but Nintendo immediately wanted to move to Switch 2, considering the fact that this voxel technology wouldn't have been possible on Switch 1, because if you notice, those voxel particles were only used in very specific areas in small rooms and not for an entire game's mechanic, so the Switch 1 probably would have blown up in our hands. They then talked about what side character were they going to add into this game as Donkey Kong's companion, and at early stages someone had brought up that Pauline would be a good choice, but they didn't know exactly why Pauline would be added until they actually started working on the Zebra Bananza transformation, where they realized they wanted to have like new songs that played every time you transformed, and with that, of course, they thought, well, how could a new song play? Who would sing that new song? And of course, Pauline just fit perfectly, and that's how she got her role as the side character. But of course, on the topic of Pauline, Takahashi actually states now as to why 13 years old in particular was a choice for Pauline's age. I think that's something that we want players to, in the course of enjoying the game, start to puzzle out. think for themselves. So yeah, duh, Pauline being a child is for a reason, some type of story reason that Nintendo wants us to start figuring out as we play through the game and see if we're, correct on our observations and our hypotheses. But yeah, some people online were thinking like it was just Nintendo rewriting the canon or something and they don't care about story. And I was like, what? Pauline is not going to just transform into a 13-year-old after appearing in like every single mainline spin-off game in the last 10 years. Like, she literally is a full adult in a game that came out a month ago with Mario Kart World. Why would they just rewrite her in Donkey Kong Bonanza? It wouldn't make any sense. So yes, there is a story reason, which is exciting and glad to be confirmed. So we're just going to have to wait and find out why. IGN then asks, is there any sort of correlation to Super Mario Odyssey, like story-wise? For instance, is this a prequel or even a sequel somehow? Is this canon to some type of timeline? Is there even a canon timeline? And Takahashi states, certainly, because a lot of team members also worked on Super Mario Odyssey. There are some similarities in terms of how they think about the setting of the character for both games, but it's something we really can't explain all of for now, because we need to leave something for people to consider as they're playing the game. So it seems like there might actually be a connection to Super Mario Odyssey, whether it is a prequel or sequel of some sort, but it's very interesting for sure, to say the least. Now, Nintendo goes over how the Banandium gems are similar but different to the Super Mario Odyssey moons. Takahashi goes on to state, I know it might sound kind of silly to be explaining all this in such a serious voice as we're talking about Banandium, but that's the setting that we've created for the game, and that's what powers his transformations. But you'll also find that Banandium as a material has a deep connection to some story elements that I hope you'll enjoy. So yeah, it seems like even the Banandium gems themselves are not just here for no reason. There's a story element as to why. So they're actually giving us lots of story, from Pauline's age to where they're going in this underground world, to the villains, and even to the Banandium gems. I'm super excited, and I really do hope they take some theories, or at least some of the theories from the fans actually come true, where there's like a whole, sub-layer dedicated to the Kremlings, and that King K. Rool has a hand in all this. It'd be really cool. I mean, it's really shaping up to have probably the most story out of any Mario, or even out of any Donkey Kong game yet. But like I stated earlier in the video, Modokura then states how this was actually a Switch 1 game. And he says, so this game originally began its development cycle on Nintendo Switch 1, and at the time, we were still using voxel technology and thinking of lots of different ideas for applications. But when we learned about the Switch 2 development, we realized that the best implementation of these ideas and technology would be on Nintendo Switch 2. And they go on to talk about that it wasn't just power, they actually really liked the Joy-Con mouse mode and the co-op play for the second player to be Pauline's vocal blast, and even to use the DK artist mode to sculpt things in those voxel technologies, which is funny to me because I feel like, no, it definitely had to be power. You know what I mean? Like, this just sounds like a marketing thing from Nintendo here. Like, hey, we also really wanted Switch 2 because of that mouse mode. Man, we definitely needed that, in order to sculpt your own Donkey Kong. Like, no, hey, come on. Like, that's a cool addition and all, but that no way in the world that wasn't like a last second thing that they decided to do. But yeah, it also talked about how Nintendo was inspired here by the classic games as well, and that's why we probably see lots of, bonus stages from Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2, and probably even more that's going to be in this game. But apparently Donkey Kong Country was a big inspiration. I guess Nintendo was really, using those games as inspiration as well. So it's actually very exciting to me, because in my head I'm thinking, could this technically be like a Donkey Kong Country 3D game? Is there going to be some type of story lore that ties into Donkey Kong Country? Does that mean we're getting King K. Rool? You know what I mean? Like, my mind's just running rampant with what else Nintendo's hiding. It seems like they were hiding a lot, from story to, characters and the lore. So I can't wait to finally dive into this game in less than a week. But let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this interview, and is there anything else that you wonder about this game, or things that you're excited about the most to find out? Like, are you more excited about the story, about the characters, about seeing if King K. Rool is in this game? What else are you excited about? But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.